guys, it's Sam. Welcome back to Vlogmas. Today we're going to talk about 10 series I want to complete in 2023. All of these are currently completed series or will be. There's like one or two that I'm like pretty positive are going to be completed in 2023, but I guess things could change, but they tend to have releases sort of later on in the year, so we'll see. A couple of these might not even be achievable, but at least I'll be caught up at minimum, or for some of these I'm already caught up. But yeah, I wanted to put 10. I had 9 and I was like, well, let's throw a little extra in there, shall we? First is the Foundry side series by Robert Jackson Bennett. This is one that earlier in the month I was like, oh, I don't know, I might DNF it, and then a bunch of people came back and were like, no, this series is really good. I think you should finish the final book. The final book is all you have left, just do it. So I think I'm going to. I have a hold for it on my library Libby app right now. So hopefully in a couple weeks that'll come in and I'll finish that in early 2023. It is a series I really enjoy. It's a adult fantasy where it kind of combines fantasy and tech, but not in a sci-fi fantasy way, where you use magic to inscribe magical tasks onto inanimate objects that make those objects believe that they should act a certain way, basically. So for example, you can like magically code a lock essentially to be like, you'll only open for XYZ thing, and it truly will, even if there's like, don't have to worry about like the key or anything, stuff like that. Or this chair I could code to be like, you travel 50 miles an hour, and it basically turns into a car, things like that. So it's a fun little series. The second book in this series, I didn't love quite as much as the first, but people said that the conclusion is really satisfying. So is this one that I think I'll have to reread the first 2 books? I'm not going to, and we'll see what happens, and if I'm like super lost. This is one of the only series where I don't feel like rereading the first 2, but we'll see if I have to go back on that later. Next is the Last Hour series by Cassandra Clare. This is one that has a confirmed release. I'm caught up on this series. The confirmed release is what, like January, February, for the Chain of Thorns, and I can finish this up. So this is the final book in her young adult historical sort of fantasy trilogy. This takes place after the Infernal Devices with all of those people's kids, and it's just a magical CW type TV show of like angsty love and aesthetics and stuff. We have a girl in love with a ghost. We have 2 people being kept apart because of magical shit. We have angsty gays, Sapphic and Achillean. It's just everything. So I'm gonna finish this up like shortly after this final book comes out. Then we have the Locked Tomb series by Tamsin Muir with Alecto the Ninth. This does not have an official release date, but it does say everywhere like 2023 will be Alecto, and typically speaking they come out around like September, October. So I'm thinking we'll get Alecto this year and I'll be able to finish this up. If you aren't familiar, this is a adult fantasy sci-fi quartet that is lesbian necromancers in space, but it's so much more than that because it's so complicated. Each book is tonally different, and it's just a mind fuck. And I can't wait for everything to like wrap up, hopefully succinctly. Then we have the Iron Widow duology. The next book, Heavenly Tyrant, comes out this year, and this is one that I want to finish up, I want to wrap up. I don't think, again, I'll reread this first book because I just read it this year, but this follows a main character that is just the embodiment of female rage, and in this world, men are tapped to pilot these like giant mechs to fight in a war, and they basically drain women. Like they have women partners that they drain of their like life force and basically kill them, but she steps in and is like, nah, and she ends up like taking the power over, and she also exists in a polyamorous triad that their love fuels mechs. It's amazing. Then we have The First Sister by Lyndon A. Lewis. The final 2 books are out, and this is another sort of, there's not really fantastical elements. This is more of just a adult space opera-y sci-fi series. It's a trilogy. The first book follows 2 main characters. One is the First Sister, which is, she's kind of this like part of this religious figure in the now, what would you even call them, nation planets that are Earth and Mars that have teamed up to fight Mercury and Venus. This is like far future, you know, humans have colonized both planets, things like that. And she has this religious role, but when you're the First Sister, you're sort of like the favored one and whatever. Otherwise, it's very Handmaid's Tale-y. And then the other POV, their partner, they fight in pairs, mysteriously went missing, potentially a traitor, and they have to hunt them down, and these 2 POVs eventually end up intersecting, and there's just lots of like cool gender stuff. There's lots of cool like battle-y things, but it's much more like close quarters battle. There's political machinations. We have this religious thing going on. It's fun. I like a lot of that shit. So I want to continue this series and finish it up in 2023. Then we have The Arc of the Scythe by Neil Shusterman. This first book I read in 2021, I'm gonna say, was it last year? And I enjoyed it. It's most people probably know, it's like a dystopian, but not really dystopian, it's more of like a utopian world. It's a YA trilogy where our main characters get tapped to potentially become Reapers, because in this world we have figured out how to like cheat death basically, like no one can die from natural causes, so Reapers have to basically kill people. And they, you know, to like cull the population. And they do this various ways and like pick who dies in various ways, but these two main characters in the first book get recruited by the same guy to potentially become Reapers and get like kind of pitted against each other. There's potentially like budding feelings between them, whatever. I just like what Neil Shusterman does with sort of like world's political machinations and just like the way that he writes books, like the grand like theories and ideas behind his books are very interesting. So I want to continue this series. This is probably one that I'll just get like the rest of the books from the library, but I find this whole idea very interesting. But I have heard mixed things from people. Some people love the end of the series and some people don't. So we'll see. Hopefully this will be one that I'll enjoy and continue with. Next we have the Chilling Effect series by Valerie Valdez. I read Chilling Effect this year. It's the first book in a adult, again, space opera-y, very action-y trilogy, and it's basically Mass Effect if Shepard was less competent, still has the alien romance, and is very, very fast-paced. So it's just these like, so much stuff happens. She's a spaceship captain. She has a fun and quirky crew. She's going on all of these missions to different planets. There's a bunch of different kinds of alien species. There's like political machinations happening, but more on like a small scale, criminal underground side of things. So I think these are really interesting. I already own the second book. Hopefully I can get to the third book as well this year. Again, I'm gonna try to get to all of these. That's the point. I did really well with my series that I wanted to complete for 2022, so I'm trying to continue that in 2023. Next is Between Earth and Sky by Rebecca Roanhorse. This is one that I'm caught up on, so my series video that I made a few weeks ago actually isn't quite accurate because I caught up on the series and like whatever, so now my numbers are like a little bit off from that. Not that you guys remember what my numbers were there. But this is an adult fantasy trilogy. I think it's just gonna be a trilogy. I don't know if there's gonna be more than 3 books. That's inspired by pre-colonial Central American like folklore, indigenous folklore, mythology, things like that. And it's multiple POV, really epic story. I reread Black Sun this year and loved it. I'm currently reading Fevered Star and really enjoy it. I listen to the audiobooks and they each have a different narrator, which is amazing and just like really immersive. So I'm caught up. We don't have an announcement for the third book yet or a title or anything. So like this could maybe not come out in 2023, but I kind of feel like it is gonna come out late 2023. And lastly is a series I want to start and finish in 2023. This is kind of my stretch goal. This is similar to what I did last year where I said I was gonna start and finish the whole Inheritance trilogy by N.K. Jemisin, which I did do. So I'm getting a little bit cocky, though that's a shorter series than this one, as far as like the size of the books. But I think I wanna do it. I wanna do it. And it also ties in another project I'm doing, which you'll hear about tomorrow. And that is the Live Ship Traders series by Robin Hobb. This is a series that I own, obviously, since I'm holding it in my hands. This is the series that I started Robin Hobb for, and then haven't yet gotten to, although I just did start owning these this year. So it's been a while since like I finished the last series and then just didn't own the next one. But now that I do, I wanna read them and I just wanna finish it up and read it all this year. It's a little intimidating, yes, because they're very large, but again, I literally started Robin Hobb to get to Live Ship Traders. I didn't really care about the Fitz trilogy. It's fine, I like it enough. I like Robin Hobb's writing. I'm gonna read the whole realm of the Elderlings, which is the big overarching series that this series takes place in. So if you're unfamiliar, this is the second trilogy within the giant overarching realm of the Elderlings series. This follows characters in a different part of the world than the first book. This is not following like Fitz or any of them, but these are essentially, I don't know, pirates, privateers. Maybe they just are ship owners, but it seems like they probably do piratey things. And in this world, if I think it's 2 captains die on a ship, that ship just becomes like basically living. So again, a live ship. And these are a very valuable resource and things happen with it. So I'm assuming we're following like these live ship trader families. I've heard this is like the best of all of the trilogies basically. People also really like the Fitz series overall, but like, I can't wait, these smell so good. These are the UK editions, they're amazing. So yeah, I'm going to start and finish this year. I'm going to, which means that I need to reach Ship of Magic like within the first quarter. What I really need to do, I'm telling myself this now and I'm telling you guys, as a reminder to myself. Because sometimes to remind myself, I'll watch back my old videos like this about like series that I'll read and be like, what are you supposed to be doing? This is to future me. You need to read one of these a season before the end of the year, because as I've said a lot, the last quarter of the year flies by, there's too much stuff going on, too much of your reading is already like called for. So I need to do like winter, spring, summer. That's what I need to do. So that's what I'm gonna try to do. So yeah, those are all the series I plan on starting and what I plan on finishing in 2023. I will be doing videos also coming up in January on series that I want to catch up on and series that I want to start in 2023. I have a lot of goals and aspirations for next year. Pray for me. So comment down below and let me know any series that you plan on completing in 2023. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you other guys soon. Bye.